Hi all, Michael here. Welcome back to what I'm going to start calling Tarot in the Round, because there are too many Tarot Tuesdays already and I don't want to get accused of plagiarism. So I've looked at the Major Arcana and how those two cycles interact with each other, and now I'm moving on to the Minor Arcana. And in order to move on to the Minor Arcana, I need to talk about how I view the suits. And the best way to start that is at the foundation, which is funny because that's kind of how I view them broadly, holistically, and sort of in their entirety. The suits themselves, to me, operate in a cycle. They are on a wheel unto themselves. And I sort of clocked this as I started thinking about what each of them represents, and sort of extrapolated that into, frankly, varying levels of existence. Because you think about the start of the universe, you think about the Big Bang, and that is the fundamental facts of the reality we live in. That is the laws of physics laid out. That is all of the freshly born hydrogen atoms spilling out into existence. And over time, those atoms start to move. And as they move, they come together into the clouds, the nebulae, and those then start to interact with each other. They form, they act, they elevate, and then they interact. I've got no other word for it. English sucks. And then you skip ahead to the formation of life itself. You've got the foundational elements and chemicals swirling around in the oceans of 5 billion years ago, and those form into organisms. Then those organisms start to seek out food, and in the course of seeking out food, they start to interact with the world around them. And then they discover that there are other organisms that they have to interact with. There's the formation, the action, the analysis, and the connection. And then add to that the layer of the evolution of the person, where we start as apes, and then we become apes that use tools, and then we become apes that use tools and communicate, and then apes that use tools and communicate and form communities. And even in the level of a gestating human in the womb, first comes conception, and then that body grows, and then that body kicks, and then that body develops sensory organs, and then it is brought into the world to become part of a family. And then you've got this little child, this newborn baby, that is just a day old. That baby learns to walk, that baby learns to speak, that baby learns to socialize. So at all of these different levels of existence, there are all of these concurrent cycles of development happening therein, and that's how I look at the suits. The pentacles are the foundational facts of existence for a person. Those are the body. That's honestly, so many people will say it's just money. So many books will talk about it's just money and finance and career, but it's more than that. It's the things that are true about a person, regardless of what they do, what they say, or how they're seen. Like, if I broke my arm tomorrow, I would have that would be a fact of my existence. Wands are actions. They are the things that are done upon the world in which one lives. It is the body in motion. Swords, which are words and thoughts by a lot of traditional systems, swords to me are how a being expresses. And then cups. Cups are a strange one. A lot of the times they'll talk about connection, a lot of times they'll talk about spirituality, a lot of times they'll talk about family and community. But I simplify all of that and just look at it as how a being is seen. And what makes the court cards a convenient way to explore this is the fact that each one of them has a unique pairing of these aspects. So if we look at pentacles as earth, wands, fire, swords, air, and cups, water, the court cards themselves have been described as having a similar arrangement. Pages are air, queens are water, kings are earth, knights are fire. So, for example, a Knight of Swords is fire and air together. But it's the interaction and the interplay between those two which would differentiate it from, say, a Page of Wands. Or even upright and reversed can have different ways of the two elements interacting with each other. So, for a start, in Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, I would look at the King of Pentacles as pure facts of being. It's the things that are immutable. And they're the things that will always be true. Where I find court cards convenient as well is in a spread, it can tell me a little bit about how other cards are going to interact with it. So if there's another pentacle, a non-court pentacle, a Three of Pentacles, somewhere in the spread, an upright King of Pentacles shows that the influence of that pentacle is elevated. Whereas a reversed King of Pentacles could mean that the presence of that is just kind of there. Like, it's still there, but it's not really doing anything. It's like changing your hair color. Like, everything else is going to remain the same about a person. Everything else will remain the same about the spread. But with that court card, it sort of augments or detracts. Think of it like music. It's a sharp or a flat. Upright, it's a sharp. Reversed, it's a flat. And like music, the progression around the wheel of the suits leads to the wands. And with wands, it's the pure action, the pure work being done. It's the elevation, if upright, of how one's actions affect the rest of the spread. It's how a wand is held. Further along, the Page of Swords, that's pure thought, pure word. It's pure learning. It's curiosity and intrigue and mystery and scandal. And then the Queen of Cups is that pure element of how one is seen, how one is viewed. And it's either by the people in one's life, it's either by the god of one's understanding, or it could even be, like with the Six of Cups, how one views their own past. Because at that point, the person you were even yesterday is no longer the person you are today. Now, when I talk about the suits, I talk about them in sort of two layers. There is what I call the plane and the intention. So, for example, if I'm talking about the plane of a card, if I split them down the middle like that, then the pentacles and the cups end up on... Sorry, no, this is intention. Strike that, reverse it. So split them down the middle like that. The intent is not there. These are things that just happen. These are what I call the passive suits. Whereas the wands and swords are both the active suits. And by that I mean they're either things that just are, or they are things that happen. Now, split down that middle creates the planar split. So with pentacles and wands, they are cards of existence. These are the facts of existence. These are the actions of existence. Versus the... God, let me see if I can get these both upright. Here we go. Swords and cups, which are what I call abstraction. And so the four of them around the wheel, you look at them as, say, active or deliberate abstraction. Thoughts, words, expressions, deliberate abstraction. It's the deliberate expression symbolically of the world in which one lives. Versus passive abstraction, which is how one is viewed. These are the thoughts and words and ideas that other people have of you, or the thoughts and ideas that you have of who you used to be. The pentacles, then, are passive existence. Again, these are the facts of just what is. They're the things that require no effort whatsoever in order to just be true. And then wands, action, choice. That's deliberate existence. Waking up in the morning, that's a deliberate action. Going to work is a deliberate action. These are the things that are done intentionally. The things that are thought intentionally. The things that are thought passively. The things that are just to be done. So, over the coming weeks, I'm going to be looking at how the different elements interplay between the influence and the suit of a card in order to create an understanding of both the suit and the card itself. How they differentiate when two elements are on two opposite sides. How intent plays when they are on the same plane. How reality plays when discerning between fact and act. And I'm probably going to make zero sense doing so, but we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. So Until then, I'm Michael, and I'll see you all next week.